Want more podcast fandom in your ear holes? Of course you do. And so it's a good thing for you that we are back beginning all new coverage of some of your favorite shows. And you can still head over to patreon.com/podcastfandom to become a premium subscriber for access to our coverage of shows like Westworld, WandaVision, Loki, Attack on Titan, The Legend of Korra, and more. Also, if you are on Clubhouse, look up our club, Podcast Fandom, where we talk about shows like The Walking Dead and WandaVision. It's so much fun because you guys get to listen live as we discuss TV shows and then come up on stage to ask your questions and share your thoughts. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and we also host game nights there. So make sure you join and follow us. And now, get into this free shit. Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
I'm Ellen.
And I'm John.
And we got a full house. What's up? We are back, all four of us, to talk about Mare of Easttown, or as Donnie calls it,
Mar.
No, how do you say Easttown?
Oh. How do you...
This is why we can't have good bits, because you never remember them. John.
Oh, Easttown. Easttown.
And John, how do you say it?
Easttown.
No, that's how I said it.
No, you said Easton.
Easton.
Yeah, you
oh,
were
yeah,
saying Easton.
I'm Easton.
I was saying East.
Who can't remember shit now, huh?
Shut up. I'm also high. But we're going to be talking about Mare of Easttown. Number 5, Illusions, is the episode name. You got...
First, I got to eat some Cheerios.
You got to do what?
I got to eat some Cheerios.
Oh my God!
Don't do it.
I thought you were like... I thought you said first we're going to shoot the shit, and I was like, why is he pronouncing it like... Sure, shit. Then. I was like, what is he having a stroke on the podcast? Oh my God.
Rude.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of your Delco County accent.
From Delaware, Delco County.
Yes. Last week, Ellen, for some reason, I could not say, like people say like your PIN number, and technically you don't have to say number because the N and PIN. Right? Yeah. So I'm like Delco County. Delco County is what I call it. And
like the ATM machine.
Yes, Delaware, Delco County.
Or like the Mac.
The Mac. Oh, yeah. So follow up. I totally forgot. So last week we were talking about this because of where it's set. And my best friend went to Temple University, and I would go visit her and like stay with her in her dorms, which is in Philadelphia. When the students, she and other students would talk about going to the ATM machine, they would say, I got to tap the Mac. So it's like, oh, are we going to go get something to drink? Are we going to go out to eat? First, I got to tap the Mac. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And that's what they called going to the ATM. So I mentioned that on the podcast last week. And while we were recording, I sent a message to my best friend. And I was like, do you remember what you guys at Temple used to call going to the ATM? She sent back a picture of the ATM machine from that bank that's, I guess, all throughout Pennsylvania. And it's blue and it has Mac across it. And she was like, tap Mac. And I was like, yeah. And so I asked her, I was like, was that a Temple thing or was it a Philly thing? Because I think I told you guys last time I wasn't sure if that was like a, on campus thing or whatever. And she said it was definitely a Philly thing. And so that podcast will be up tonight for free folk, and it's been up over the weekend over on Patreon. And Shalita is a Patreon subscriber, and she And she's from Philly. And so she was like, "Oh yeah, it's a Pennsylvania thing." And she was like, "I still call it that." Like she doesn't say she's going to the Mac. Like so I like that cultural kind or, what would you call that? Yeah, cultural, like geographical, cultural little niche things like Johns and stuff. And what's the other one? Smacked ass. What is that?
Smack ass. That was. So that's the sec. She said it again. She said it another
Twice.
time, right?
Yeah, she called Mare that when Mare confessed to planting the drugs.
Right.
And then this time, what kind of smacked ass confesses to- I love that stuff. But anyway, you guys, this episode that we're gonna talk about, it's so fucked up, and I don't even know, like, okay, I don't know if you guys remember. Ellen probably does, because Ellen can tell you about every 90210 episode in the world. So I'm sure she remembers this. It's not 90210, but she has that kind of brain, is my point. John might be too young. Donnie, I don't know if you remember this. But anyway, ER. There was an episode of ER in which, fuck, what is her name? The
Carol
character's name was
Hathaway?
Lucy. The character's name was Lucy, and she was played by this actress who it was kind of a big
Oh,
deal.
Kelly Martin.
Thank you. But what was her like? She before that
Life
she was kind
goes
of like
on with
thank
Corky.
thank you. See, see,
This is like, let me finish this sentence for you.
Ellen knows her shit. Okay, she's my IMDb. I don't have to do shit when Ellen's here. Thank you. So Kelly Martin went to ER and she played this Dr. Lucy. And again, it was like her first kind of like adult role after that show, right? She was like a child star in that show. So anyway, she dies on that show, and the episode in which she dies,
Spoiler.
sorry, it's look that this shit happened like 15 fucking years ago, more 20 years ago, more.
Right, 20 years ago.
I'm sorry, but the episode in which she dies, it's one. It was like a Halloween episode, and like so the hospital staff were like and dressed up a bit and stuff. And there had been a patient earlier in the episode who was like unwell, and like I guess he hadn't been taking his meds, and he seemed somewhat harmless. And she was so nice. She was like really nice to him early in the episode when she was tending to him. So anyway, at one point in the episode, she goes missing. People are like, oh yeah, she went to check on something, something. And Noah Wiley's character, Dr. Carter, goes looking for her. And even the song that's playing, because there's this, a Halloween party going on in the hospital. Even the song that's playing
A
is
monster mash. No.
no, it wasn't. It's still stuck in my head. When he walks into that room and the guy comes from behind the door and takes a knife, and I think it might have also been like was going away or something like that, and there was a cake and they were going to cut the cake and the knife was gone. And the guy steps from behind the door and he just pushes this knife into Carter's back. And it like just slides right. And it's a long knife. And he falls to the floor. And as he's lying there bleeding out, he looks under like a bed he can see like through the under the bed. On the other side of the bed on the floor is Lucy, also bleeding out. And her face is like super pale. She can't talk. He had already attacked her. Yeah, and then in the next episode, that's how the episode ended. She dies in the next episode, and Alex Kingston, is the doctor who was trying to save her. Yeah, and do you remember the guy? He was on Fame, and he played the dick doctor on ER.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And on Fame, he had like the curly. He had like
does.
a curly. Real, of course she does. The curly red hair.
Romano.
But anyway. Romano, exactly. They were working on Lucy when she codes and she dies, and it's like he's this character like nobody really likes, and he's a hard ass, but he fucking loses it when they lose her here, and the acting, and when people are fine, and it just sticks with me, and it's that type of TV death thing, like you just so unexpected and it happens. That's kind of like this for me. I just was like, wait, what? Wait, what? Did he what?
Yeah, I was in denial up until the very end.
Yeah, because like yeah, because even when she like looks down, like you can see his legs there. I'm like, well, no.
Yeah,
Well,
And
when
I
you know,
she
knew
now
got
it
that
back
was.
over there and he still hadn't moved, I was like, oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
yeah. Well, when you now that you mention ER, like that Lucy's death is totally like a TV character. What I thought of last night after watching that was when Adriana died on The Sopranos. That was kind of how I had that
yeah.
type of reaction.
Yes, because it's like it feels. It just feels like I know it's weird because it's a television show like surreal. Like, did that really? Wait, what? That life was just snuffed out. Like, and we didn't even know him that long. But I felt like we got to know him obviously because the confession, all that stuff in this episode, and understood him better. And then because I mean we'll get into the details of course, but like
And started rooting for him.
yeah, like this is it was so fucked up. And I guess that like the senseless, gun violence, that's often the way it is. It's just that fast. And it's so senseless and devastating. And I think you really feel that here. It's like they were just talking, you know?
Hmm.
But so uh one thing I want to say about that before we go around the table. I feel bad too because I know I said it both times when we recorded with John last week and Ellen the week before. Um, I was frustrated with his character, and I really wasn't here for the scene when he was drunk, looking like Goofy,
You
hitting on
see it.
Mare. I see
You
it.
see
I see
it.
it. Hitting on Mare. Like I just wasn't really there for that, and I think I said like I was like half paying attention to that scene, and I said back then both times that for me the point of him just felt like another red herring, right? Um, and so if that's the case, then I don't need all this extra stuff like at with his mom and like this weird out of nowhere like hitting on Mare when we were all just sus of him, earlier in the same episode. Like I was just this is especially for a limited series, right? Like if I said before, if this was something where we knew we were going to get a second season and he's just a character on his journey, then I'll wait for it. But I know it's a limited series. We only got a few episodes left. And it's like, if it's not him, what is his purpose? And I can't believe I walked that through twice and didn't even occur to me that his purpose is going to be refrigerated. Like they just fridged his ass to get Mare where she needs to be. But I mean, of course, I think there's more to it. But like, I did not see his death coming at all.
I did
Really?
in this episode. In this
Yeah,
episode,
they spent. I mean, if you go back on it, they spent a lot of time on him in this episode.
But I didn't think
When
it meant
confessing
that.
to his success and all that
when
stuff. Yeah.
when the scene happens where he kisses her, that's when I was like, oh, he's dying. I didn't know it was gonna be in this episode and the way it happened, but I
Right.
was like, that felt like, oh, he's not long for this world because
I
it doesn't
just,
feel like Mare can be happy. Like it doesn't feel like this show's about Mare being happy at all.
I mean, anyway. Well, I will want to talk about that more at that point you just said, later. It just, I don't know. It just didn't occur to me, you guys. I was just like, what is happening? And this, it was so Silence of the Lambs with the music, and you're just so uneasy. And he wasn't even supposed to be there. Like this twice over. That's the other thing. Twice over, he wasn't supposed to be here. Like in Clerks, he's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today. Like, it's like that. Like, but twice over, if you think about it. Because one, he shouldn't have been fucking in this city working on this to begin with, right? Or
Mhm.
at this department because he didn't earn the promotion, and they only brought him in because because he's supposed to, be good and could solve it. And we saw that. And it was so frustrating to me that Mare didn't. Like, at no point did she ever be like, why do I have to tell you everything? you know? But, what was that? Oh, and then the second part is like, even the lead that got them there, like, that's all through Mare. And she ain't even supposed to be working on the fucking case.
And like
Oh,
I felt so bad for her because when she reaches for her gun and she's like, I ain't got a gun.
Yeah.
And I was like, because she planted those fucking drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
If she didn't do that, then
Yeah.
maybe she has a gun here.
Mm-hmm. Because and then you see that, like, the danger of him being elevated and put in this position before he's ready. Because she had to tell him that she didn't have a gun, so he should be prepared, because his brain wasn't even in I might need my gun space. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even, once again, he's like a couple of steps behind her and didn't even realize this is a situation in which maybe I should be unholstering my gun and getting ready. She had to tell him that. And then he was too late. She shouldn't have to call your name, and then she does, and he looks at her instead of it was just inexperience. And I know I sound angry, because I am, because it's fucked up. And his mom, the conversation he had with,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had the nerve to make her, like, more likable, because remember I was shitting on her last week.
Yeah, I do remember that.
They made her so fucking likable this week, like. So now I'm sitting there like, she just said goodbye to her fucking son for the and doesn't even know it. And she told him, be careful. And she told him, this woman is using you for access.
And when I rewatched it, there was this lingering look between her and Mare.
Yes.
Because Mare was driving.
And
she said goodbye to the son, and she just kind of stared Mare down a little bit. And I was like, oh, shit.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because when I just rewatched it to take notes, and I was like, this is like the third time I've seen Mare do that, like, just stare at someone instead of, like, greeting or acknowledging anything. And in this particular case, I was like, I know she knows that woman doesn't like her, right? And we know that she knows what the woman said about her, right? That my mom said. If you're on a date with a guy and he's like, my mom said, it's but anyway, but so I know she knows, but still I was thinking, you know what, I probably would have just, like, smiled or waved or something, like, just put up the front of being cordial. But it was just so interesting to me that neither of them did it. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't put on those fake airs that she did last week, right? Like, she was just talking shit about Mare, and then Mare shows up and she's like, oh, we were just talking about you, come in. This week she was just like, mm-mm. And you get it, and now to know, what happened. Oh god.
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's a clear age difference between Mare and Zabel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just interesting because the same kind of dynamic was between Mare and Siobhan and her new girlfriend, because she's older than Siobhan. And I was like, I feel like this show has been doing that kind of duality thing pretty well, where you see two different perspectives from about the same subject.
Got it.
That was one of my favorite things about this episode. Is one thing that happened. I don't know if you want me to say it now or not.
Go ahead.
Okay. One of my favorite things about this episode was when you see that, the scene with Helen and Mare at the wake or whatever, and the affair comes out, right?
Right.
And it's played for, like, this really funny moment, like, really funny, and then in the same episode you have the affair that the other guy is having. And that is played so seriously.
Yeah.
And I really like the fact that in the same episode, the same show was able to take the same topic.
Showing it, from two different aspects.
Yeah, and say, like, it's funny, and here it's tragic.
Devastating. Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And clearly, like, the guy his wife died, he was upset.
Oh yeah, he was straight up, like, seriously feeling like he just did something, and, like, he needed to get that off his chest. And that was probably part of his grief and guilt, right? Like, because let's be real, they're old as shit. He could have confessed anytime. He's like, I meant to tell her. No, you didn't. You were never going to tell that woman. All right. So I'm gonna assume everybody liked the episode.
No,
Besides the
hated
fact,
it. Hated it.
Don't make assumptions. I mean, come on.
I mean, that ending though, that ending. I'm gonna dive in, and then uh, this is chronological, though it's not like everything. But if I skip something that you really want to talk about, feel free to stop me and tell me to back up a bit. Okay. Um, my notes. Let's start with the car crash. There's a car crash that makes all the lights go out in town. Um, through this, Lori overhears her husband keeping a secret with their son, Ryan, I think his name is. Uh, the dead woman we learn is Betty, the woman who had called about the ferret peeper.
I did not remember who this woman was.
Oh,
Really?
because she was in a couple episodes. She was always suspect of that
Yeah.
kid at the
Yeah,
the
and she
fair.
had
I mean,
every right to
now
be.
that you said
Yeah.
that, I mean, now I know I remember who it was, but like just
Yeah.
watching the episode, I was like, I don't know who the fuck this
It's
is.
just yeah. I mean, there's this characters that they showed you throughout. I think she was almost every episode at some
Yeah.
point.
And we like
Yeah,
oh, it was when we were recording with you, Ellen, right? That you had missed the fact that Mare saw that it was the neighbor who actually did do the graffiti, and
Right.
she deleted it from
yeah.
the
I'm
thing.
scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And that the actress who played Betty, she actually died in real life.
yeah, I saw that in the feed. Somebody brings it up in the feedback. I saw, like, I glanced at it when the email came in, so I'll be reading that later. And yeah, they said that maybe they did it this way because I think they said she died while they were filming. Okay, so we also learned that things are not good between Frank and Faye, understandably so.
Hmm.
And then Frank, asked Siobhan about her, and we learned that it's, he has this guilt that he hasn't done that in a while. Like, he hasn't bothered to check in on her and see how she's doing. This was so weird to me because I don't believe for a second that this is father and daughter.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just.
It
Yeah.
this is the only relationship on the show that rings false to me. And I don't know, maybe it's the actress for me, because I feel like I'm fine with Frank and the few scenes that he's had with Mare. But like this whole thing, I didn't believe that this was father and daughter. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they feel estranged, especially when you compare the relationship that like with her and Mare and Helen, because it feels like they're very close because they
Right.
live in the same house.
But the thing, okay, but see, I didn't feel like they were, like, everything leading up to this conversation, none of that felt like they were estranged. If anything, I would say it felt like she got along better with him than Mare, that she preferred him. Like, everything kind of felt like that. And so to sit here and see them, like, for him to be like, oh, and how are you doing? Like, how do you ask your daughter that? It was so weird.
That conversation was just like it didn't match the rest of their relationship throughout the rest of the episode.
That's a good way to put it, I think. Maybe I shouldn't be shitting on the acting. I should just say that it kind of feels like maybe some, like, you find out later that there were like an episode cut or some scenes were cut. Like, I don't get this, but go ahead.
Well, because last week when they had the family meeting, that
The fuck is a
she
family
didn't
meeting?
tell.
I'm
She
sorry.
didn't. Yeah, what's the family meeting? Siobhan didn't tell them about and the grandma Helen even asked, like, did you meet someone? And she doesn't even tell them. So for me, I'm thinking, like, if she would tell anyone, she would have told Frank first.
I
You know what I
forgot
mean?
that
It just
she
felt like
hadn't.
it did
I
feel
forgot
like a
that she
strange.
had. I thought she did tell Mare that.
No, she didn't, and we were talking about that episode because that's the episode when Mary comes home and the ambulance was there, and
She's like, who's that woman?
right, she's like, and it just like, oh, that's just a friend.
Okay.
It just seemed like she was
Oh,
hiding
no,
the
no, no,
relationship.
I know
And then
what it
here
is.
she told.
No,
Here
she
she did tell
told-
Frank, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she told Frank. No, but in that episode, she said that she broke up with the other girl. I know
Right.
she
She
confessed
said that,
somewhere.
but she never
Okay,
admitted.
no, I'm just saying that's what
Oh,
I was thinking. That's why I
Yeah.
thought that she had said, because that's what I was thinking. Because I felt like they had gone around the table and were like, okay, now do you have anything else? And then that's when Helen was like, no, I'm just trying to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do in this house with you all day or something like that. Because she confessed to being
I kind of
fired or
had a
whatever.
feeling the conversation with Frank and Siobhan last night was kind of to establish Frank like really didn't have anything going on with Erin. He's just like kind of a nice guy who has a teenage
And
daughter and
it's kind of weird though that
yeah.
like it's not even being discussed anymore.
Hmm.
Cause like the light scout went out and he's like, "Hey," and they're like, "Pop Pop's here." I'm like, okay. We
Hmm.
all, like it feels like my. I guess what I'm trying to say is like we know that the paternity, like that it came back that he wasn't the baby's father because they're told like at the precinct. I feel like I would like to see an acknowledgement of that fact between Mare and Frank because the confrontation was so big and do you know what I mean? Like it feels like there needs to be like a follow up, but him just walking in like, "Hey, I got candles."
It feels like to me that the show knows that it's only 7 episodes,
Yeah.
and so it like the scene that follows immediately after this conversation between Frank and Siobhan, where Mare's in Siobhan's room and she sees the computer, right?
Yeah.
And she sees the video and she plays the video. That scene, I was so stressed because I was like, Siobhan's going to find her and then it's going to be a whole thing because she
Mhm.
just had a conversation with her dad where she's like connecting, and then she
Mhm.
sees that her mom is like, uh, uh,
Snooping.
yeah, like watching their video without telling her or whatever, behind her back. But then that didn't happen. And then the scene just kind of plays as a moment for Mare.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and that's what it
Hmm.
feels like. The show is kind of like narrowing down to like, oh, it's just Mare. Like it's just
Mhm.
like it's there are other characters who we should care about, but like Mare and her perspective and what she's doing, like that's what we're really
It's
supposed to
called
focus
Mare
on.
of Easttown, not Mare and them in Easttown.
Yeah, it ain't Frank,
Frank and them.
So like
um
which is kind of we saw Frank,
Gilligan, Gilligan, and
and the crew.
yeah,
in the
and
crew.
so we saw the Frank thing from like it was like, oh, the perspective of Mare confronting him,
Right,
and
right.
then it kind of went away after that. And it's kind of like it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It feels like they're like, Mare, whatever her part in the situation is, and is the front and center,
Well,
and
it feels
then
like
it
at
moves
this
on.
oh, it feels like at this point then her part in it is like, all right, he didn't do it, but come on, I
I
got to
still
get
don't
that
like him.
turtle shit up off the carpet. Like she's like moved beyond it, and it's just so weird to me because I still want to have a conversation about like I don't know. I guess like you said, at this point we're supposed to take it at face value that he's just a nice guy who's fucking dumb sometimes. Cuz you should not be secretly buying a teenage girl baby care products and giving her rides places. In
Hmm.
theory, you should be able to do that because that's the way the world should operate. Like you should be able to do that with no malicious intent, and but that's not the world we live in. And don't do things to make you look like a creep if you ain't a creep.
Yeah, it
And
feels
I shouldn't
like
have to tell that to, my ex husband who's the father of my fucking adult children. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a lesson that I feel like he should be. But then again, his alibi is what? Pissing in a closet? Because he passed out drunk and his alibi is a fucking serial adulterer. And so I guess, I don't know. We're at the everybody has secrets and everybody's kind of terrible point of the season, I guess.
yeah, like the tagline of the show is all truths come to light, and I guess that's
Yes.
kind of true. And
But
so
that
it
is
feels,
that formula that I was talking about. Like when you watch like Happy Valley and all of that, you have like this central mystery, but the reason everybody could be a suspect is because everybody is hiding something. And it's always like this, kind of small, isolated community where everybody knows everybody except their secrets. So, anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
and
Sorry.
it feels like the show is like they threw all these red herrings, and they pulled all these red herrings out of the sea, right? And now it's like they're throwing them back in
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
like, okay, it's not Frank,
We only got
it's
two
not,
more episodes.
it's not the preacher guy or the deacon, whatever. Like, it's not these guys. It's not fucking Zabel.
Right, right. Oh
Like they're just
God.
throwing all these things back into the water. Like, no, these are all wrong.
Poor Zabel. Okay, so my next chunk of notes I have is with the therapist. We see Mare speaking with her therapist, and we learn some things here. We learned that Kevin was violent as a child. Excuse me, had been diagnosed with Tourette's, and other. Um, did he have like? I thought she said Tourette's and. Fuck, I meant to write that down. Um, and
Mood.
he
It
had
was
been
he had Tourette's when he was 8, and then she said then he started developing, or he mood disorders.
and then so they put him on, like he was on, she named all these meds.
Yeah.
We learned her father committed suicide when she was 13, and that he had been depressed but never been treated for it, and it was like an open secret. Like when he would have episodes, he would go live with his brother for a bit. His mother would just recognize that it was coming on and be like, nope, you gotta go. And then when he felt like he could be himself again, he would come back. And this is just sad. This is just so, so sad. And she admits that she is, worried about Drew because, her father killed himself, her son killed himself, and now she's raising her grandson who is starting to exhibit signs that he may also have some issues, and she's terrified.
And then I like the. I mean, I was gonna say, oh, I liked that, but like, it feels weird to say that, but I do like in terms of storytelling, because you see like with the character, when she's in talking to the therapist, and she says the therapist asks her like, how'd that make you feel about her dad's death?
Yeah.
And she's like that I wasn't good enough for him, I wasn't enough for him, and then so it feels like she probably felt that way with her son too, and then with what's her name, the son's girlfriend,
Carrie.
saying, oh, he didn't hate, he hated you, he deserved better than you, like my son deserves better than you. Like it's like she probably feels that way about her entire life.
And then it's not just that she said that. Like Mare has this very clear memory of him saying that I hate you, and she actually recalls it again in this episode.
Mm.
Pizza night. So, what comes out at pizza night? What is Siobhan's new girlfriend's name?
Anne.
What is it?
Anne.
Oh, that's my
Well,
grandmother's name.
my mother's name is Anne, so
That's
it's easy to remember.
My grandmother's name was Anna. Okay. Anne suggests that Siobhan apply to Berkeley. She looked at the documentary, which I'm guessing is complete. And Siobhan is like, oh, I've already applied to some schools, and this is kind of cool. She's not like, she clearly likes her, and she's like encouraging her to move across the country because it could be good for her.
Get away from your mom.
Mm-hmm. Everybody hates her. We learned that Kenny wants Lori and her husband to take in DJ.
And they're thinking about it.
Okay, can I just add something?
No.
Like, fuck you. No. Their son Ryan, when they revealed that, when Lori said that about adopting DJ, that kid totally did a side eye to every adult in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And the like, I think Shalita was talking about this, like on doing the live Facebook comments. The conversation at the beginning, like with the father John and the son, it was ambiguous. Like it sounds like very pedophile talk. Like,
absolutely,
just our secrets between us. And then the way he acted out, like
And then even the way she asked him about it.
Is he doing it again?
Is he doing it again? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they
he
wanted you to think that. Absolutely.
definitely ambiguous
Hmm.
as to like if the only secret he's keeping was the infidelity. It could, like, to me, I
Oh,
felt
you
like it
think there
could be
could be
more.
more? Well,
Yeah.
hold on to that because there's something I want to bring up when we get to that later. Um, so they're thinking about taking in DJ. There's talk of whether or not Kenny ever hit Aaron, and through this we learned that Aaron's mother died of leukemia, which we didn't. We knew that she was gone, but we didn't know the details of it. And apparently, she kept her diagnosis a secret straight until like she was going into hospice. And I didn't like this here. Is Lori's husband named John?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, but Erin was tough. She was like her mother, and I'm like, they were eating fucking macaroni and cheese for dinner, not by choice. And she was, which I know they supposedly, because we don't know what these motherfuckers know what she was, doing to make money or contemplating doing, but like that was going on, and she was a teen mom. Like, come on. And the way he behaved, like, there's a reason that you guys worried about him the way you did. So, like, the way they were just kind of like brushing off that he may have been like emotionally and physically abusing her just pissed me off.
Mm-hmm. It was very much like, yeah, he was a piece of shit, and we know it, and we're gonna pretend that we don't know it.
Right. And it's like, oh, we knew that he wasn't perfect. That's why we were taking care of her. And I'm like, yeah, good fucking job. Now, Lori starts some shit here. And she reveals that Aaron lived with Billy.
Yes.
She did this shit on purpose.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to figure out why.
He's the baby's father.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking,
but
so, yeah.
she has to know that, though, right?
Maybe she just suspects it. I don't know.
Because at first, I was like, she is doing this, and she is, at first, I thought it was just, misery loves company, right? She's sitting there looking at her son. He's going through some shit. She done overheard this shit. And then this is after, right?
Yep, it's after she overheard.
Right. So she's like wondering, and now we know that she wasn't thinking that, well, at least I don't think that there was any molestation or anything like that. Now that we know that what it could have been, for her to be like, is he doing it again? You know what I mean? Like she had to be suspicious of it being that from him, when she was sitting there. So at first I was like, oh, she's just being petty. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But then I thought, is this like a way to, is it to hurt the husband somehow? Like, because they're related, right? They're cousins, right?
I think I think John and Billy are brothers, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They're Kenny's cousins.
I even said it to Nina. I was like, why is Billy there? Like they just seemed like it was a. I don't know. He just seemed out of place. But if he's his brother, then that makes sense.
Yeah, it's Lori's brother-in-law. Yeah, so yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know why she, like, that fascinates me. And it makes me very suspicious of her.
Mare knows too, right?
Well, Mare was eyeing that bottle.
Oh, she eyes the bottle.
Like they were telling us. They were telling us that Mare
she's going to go get DNA on
that
that
bottle. Is being tested as we speak. And I don't know if you guys saw the scenes, and it feels like what they've been doing for the past couple of weeks is like it's been scenes from all the upcoming episodes, and I understand why they did that, because Evan Peters was dying. So you show a bunch of stuff, you don't give away that he's not around, like, you know what I mean? You can't really glean anything for that. Okay, but anyway, and for the next, after this episode, one of the things I think, like, the way it ends is the boss saying, get Mare on the phone. And I'm guessing that beer bottle, it's that beer bottle sample coming back.
It was wild because, like, apparently, I mean, not just as you mentioned it, it reminded me that in that the future scenes or whatever, you see they just give her gun back and her job, and like it's just
Wait,
like, forget the thing that happened.
Beyond that, he starts by saying, "I let Hauser go." Why did Hauser get fired? What he do?
He sucked. We know that.
I mean, I understand giving her the case back, but maybe I don't know. I'm curious to see. Well, for one, they have to know that the person who kidnapped Katie and Missy didn't kill Aaron, right? Like they have to know that, even though, like, the news thing, which we're going to talk about later, says that they're clear to say that they're not sure that they're all linked. It feels like some viewers were kind of still not getting that these are two separate cases. You're not supposed to, at least I don't think, you're not supposed to think that. Maybe the show was playing cute, but I felt like from the very beginning it was obvious that these were not the same thing. Okay. So beyond that, with the investigation, they're clearly going to know right away that this is absolutely separate. We need to still keep, figuring out who killed Aaron. And it's just so weird to me that he's like, okay, here's your gun and badge back. Because she still did do what she did. Like, she still planted them drugs. Maybe that's why we got, like, the fucking therapist montage in this episode. Remember that? There was, like, we saw a session where we didn't hear what they were saying. And I was like, oh, they're really trying to drill in that Mare is going to therapy. Like, it's not like one and done. It's not like Bucky and his therapist in Winter Falcon. It's like, oh no, you're going to see her put in this work. And maybe that's why, so we can feel a little bit better about her privilege and getting her shit back next week. But
yeah, I mean, it feels very much like small town privilege. Like,
yeah.
Like, even when she attacks the old man in this episode, like, she should be arrested.
Like, she should not get her job back after that.
She should fully be arrested.
Yes.
But the chief is just like, go home, I covered it.
Oh yeah, so, and Billy is sus. So he's clearly the baby's daddy, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did he give her the money?
I don't know.
I don't think he killed her.
I think now that, like, the kidnapped girls was one person, the baby daddy's one person, and the murderer is another person.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
It feels so weird to me that the identity of the baby father is not somehow connected to her death. Because that means then that we have a third string that they really haven't done anything with.
That's true, yeah.
And it's just going to be rushed these next 2 episodes. And it better be fucking good for me to be like, why should I care? Because right now, I kind of care that it's Billy. Because this is going to affect some characters that I like and that I care about. And I want to know, like, what the fuck did this chick know? And why did she wait until this moment to start being,
Okay,
that's more fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Her involvement right now is so fucking sus and fascinating to me that I was actually wondering if she did it. I'm not kidding.
No, I see. Okay, now I can see that the killer and baby dad is the same person. So I'm
not even saying same person, but I feel like the reason she was murdered has to be for me. I think connected
it has to
be
that. Connected. Yeah, I agree.
If they do it in another way and it's still good, I don't care. But that was my thinking, because right now I'm like, okay, but why would anybody want to fucking kill her?
I wonder.
Okay, so okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Donnie.
I was gonna say then that makes my theory I was telling you last night, Nito, about the 4 kids could be true then.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, the only thing that. Because I believe, and you guys tell me if you think differently, I believe that Dylan thought that baby was his, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means then that this other shit with the journals and all of that, that means that is something else that is not tied to baby daddy, right? Because Dylan really thought he was that baby's dad. Maybe that stuff is why she died? And it's a little late to introduce that, but that's fine. That's fine, because I am compelled. We'll talk about that, but
I don't think them four have anything to do.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it is, though. I mean, I'm not saying it's them, but it could be.
But that's kind of like what I was
to that,
in my thought that I was telling you, because it's Erin's diaries. She's writing into her own diaries, and to me, it felt like them three knew something was written in those diaries that could expose them. Why would she write about them?
Okay, but
still
here's
be with
the
them
thing.
And stuff like that. So that's why I said, okay, so they all four of them did something, and she wrote about it.
Maybe, and I know you asked me something, and I'm gonna let you say that. I believe you asked me.
Well, I thought that maybe they all knew that she was doing the sex work, because when they reached in to get the journals, there was an envelope that said DJ's ear, and Dylan like took.
But she never did any of the sex work stuff.
Allegedly, so maybe there's something she really did do that.
Why would they work? Why would they care about that? I felt like they did this on their own and were trying to purposely get rid of these diaries for a reason.
Okay, but here's the thing. Can I just say
that would hurt them?
Here's what's weird to me. When he says, "We said we weren't going to read them," that didn't feel like hiding evidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you have something incriminating on me in your diaries, first of all, like, I think what we're supposed to believe is that the friend Jess, lied to Mare, right, about where to look, and on purpose, because they wanted to get them, right? And then they're taking them and they're burning, like, that this is like something the three of them are doing, right? Because something is written in it or whatever. Yeah. But like, then why not just take them and read them? I think you have incriminating shit on me, first of all, why do they even know where it is? So this girl just turned on her for some reason? Like, to me, it felt like a pact type thing.
Yeah, it feels like they're protecting Erin.
Right. It felt
something.
That's exactly.
And that's the same thing.
What did I tell you, Donnie? When I die, delete my browser history. It felt like that to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same thing as like when the deacon says that when she wanted him to take her to that park, and she was so hysterical, it felt like someone like messaged her or something while she was in that car and said they were going to do something, like reveal some secret. And so she had to get him to take her there to confront this person who was going to reveal something. That's what it feels like. Because like, I don't know what else it would be that would... Why would she be so hysterical and be like, please take me here?
The other thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't take the use of his word hysterical. I took that with a grain of salt, honestly, because he's a man. I'm being dead ass. Like, when he said hysterical, I was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, is she hysterical? Like, what exactly is she saying? Was she screaming and crying? Was she angry hysterical or sad hysterical? Like, what are we talking about here? And just the fact that it just left at that, I was just like, I don't know.
What?
To me, it's vague enough that when they reveal what happened, and they most definitely will probably show it, like, you know, the actress has filmed this scene, I feel like it's vague enough that when we see what the text message was and who it was from, that it would fit what he said, but it didn't lead me to think that I understood what would be in that text, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't feel like, I didn't know for a fact that I would say that she was threatened, like, you know, with something being revealed. But I don't know. But here's the other thing. Like, for me to believe that they had some sort of agreement where she would trust them enough, it's like, that doesn't feel like the relationship, definitely not the relationship she had with what's his face, Dylan. Like, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, if you start treating me like that, I'm moving my diaries. I'm finding a new hiding space, like, you know what I mean, like, I'm changing my will, that type of thing. It's like you break up and you still have this kind of serious secret to the point where it's like if one of us dies or if I die, you guys are doing this to protect me. It didn't feel like he was ever really invested, unless this is some pact they made when they were like 10. I don't really get, but it's compelling because honestly, I feel like it could go either way, but it didn't feel malicious yet to me. Even when he took the money, like I was like, I mean, I hope he goes and pays for that fucking surgery. I hope he doesn't pocket it.
Maybe he'll pay for the ears. You don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping, like, I didn't get upset when he took it because it didn't feel like, at least the way the actor played it, I just took it as he's going to use it for what, the envelope said. And especially because they've also kind of gone out of their way to, like, highlight that he's not a complete dick. Like, he didn't murder the kid last week. So that's a low bar, I know.
And then the scene between Dylan and Carrie, or no, not Carrie, his girlfriend.
Oh, wait, we'll get to that. Hold on, because I have that later. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's like, it feeds into this.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I was just like the way that played to me was like there is something about what they were doing that he's hiding.
Yeah.
And it's not like it. I think the show wants at least some viewers to believe he's hiding that he killed her.
Right.
But like, obviously, that's not what it is.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like there's still, because maybe it's because it's 2 episodes left, I still feel like we could have one more episode where, like you just said, they want you to think it's a possibility, but then before they just really start revealing all this other shit and we get down to it. And I'm okay with that for now, if the other shit is good. Does that make sense? Like, if the other stuff is good and interesting, then cool. But, like, I'm not really going to care if these motherfuckers made a pact at 10 to, like, burn their diaries.
There's going to be, in the next episode, it's going to be, like, them the cops confronting Dylan about where he was, the cops confronting the deacon about the bike.
Right.
All that shit's going to be in the next episode. And then episode 7 is the real shit.
Speaking of, let's just finish that. Beauty school dropout, Brianna. She says she can't go to college because she got a record now. I mean, you should have thought about that shit. You're the one who filmed it. I hate that kid. I didn't feel sorry for her at all.
No.
They didn't even mention Erin.
No.
Fuck these kids, man. And I felt like they were trying to, like, I don't know. I still feel like sometimes they want us to think that Dylan's not. Nah, fuck that kid. Anyway, but he dumps her.
Yeah, it was so weird because like it was one of those things where they were kind of just having a conversation, and then she started asking too many questions, and he's like, "Get the fuck out!"
Yeah, just like I could be there for you if you want.
And then
like,
that's you don't have to be here if you don't want to.
Here's the fucking well, you know what? These kids aren't that bright, so I'll allow it. But I'm like, why would you tell somebody, like, if you think that he wasn't in bed because he was out murdering Erin, why are you telling him you think that? Because he dumped you? You're that hurt? You want to put a target on your back? You need to take your pride and go.
Right. He
was like, I was feeding
girlfriend. So
I was feeding DJ. You weren't in the den feeding JJ. I was outside smoking. You weren't outside smoking. I'm like, bitch, if you don't go home and take this L, stop threatening this.
It's gonna get you too.
Right?
It's like, you're my ex-girlfriend now. Think about that.
Right? See what happened to the last one. Donnie, you know who they remind me of? These two? Brianna and Dylan. They remind me of Katarina and Ulrich.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys? I don't think John has. Ellen, did you watch Dark?
No.
Ellen.
Where can I find it?
On Netflix. It's 3 seasons. Each season is like 8 episodes, I think. That shit is good. And the creator, It's so oh, it's so so good. I'm kind of jealous that you get to watch it for the first time, and we podcasted it too. But anyway, there's a couple in it. They remind me of these two, and I won't say anymore. I think you'll dig it. You should watch it. Um, and there's threads in the group, and we had like chats and like spreadsheets, and I'm not even kidding, flow charts to keep the characters straight. It's right up your alley. You need to watch it. Um, so Missy. Katie tells Missy, who are these people? Oh, the kidnapped girls. About that she's been there about a year. There was a girl named Hillary there when she got there, and she helped her through her withdrawal. And then one day, she woke up and Hillary was gone because Hillary got pregnant, and he don't like that. He keeps them tied up when he has poker night.
Like,
Like,
this
oh my,
brazen shit. It's like, he has
this is a
poker
white
night
man.
here?
This white man's psychopathic shit.
Especially when we get to the scene where you actually get to see the inside of this
He
place
doesn't
and all
even
this
live
stuff. Like,
there.
who the
Right.
fuck is coming there to play poker?
So, and at this point, though, when she said that, am I the only one who was thinking, "Oh, it got to be one of these husbands"? Right?
Yeah, I felt like there was, it was
No.
more.
Really?
I thought there was,
I really thought it like I was like Frank, John. I don't know. It just felt
I
like
think
some
I
old
still-
double life
I
shit.
have heavy suspicions about John, actually.
Something.
John's
Uh-oh.
just cheating.
I don't like this conversation.
When oh wait,
The
I'll
other
wait.
John with the beard.
I'll wait.
He's having an affair. I mean, that's really.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need much more.
Donnie's like, "What do you want from the man?
It's like,
Isn't that enough?"
Like that's his drama for this drama.
Yeah, yeah.
His teacup overfloweth.
Yes. One drama per white man. He doesn't get to be an adulterer and a murderer. Okay, pick a struggle. So Lori's door. Oh my God, this was so fucking terrible. And I actually, when we watched this, I feel so stupid for saying this, but like, I looked at Tanya and I was like, kids are still like this. Like, have we not evolved at all? Are we not raising better kids yet? Are they still like this? Throwing food
Yes.
at this girl.
Yes.
Y'all gotta raise better kids, man. And you know who you
and
are.
nobody but the brother did anything about it.
Anything. I'm like, who the fuck is raising all these kids?
I mean, that's the thing. Is like,
I mean, clearly
like,
it's written that way, but it just burned me up because I'm like, this is so blatantly fucking terrible, and I hate it.
and like, yeah, the kids weren't doing anything, but I was like, where the fuck are the teachers? Like, where is anyone? He's clearly doing this
Yeah.
in the wide open cafeteria,
Mhm.
like, throwing food
And
across
there
the
was
room.
because I had subtitles on or captions on, and there even after it happens and the teachers finally come take them away, you hear kids in the background saying they deserved it and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
But they were talking about the kids getting beat, and I'm like, well, why didn't you fucking stand up and like why?
Oh, they were saying that he deserved it, but nobody
Right.
else. He was the only one, yeah, because it was his sister. And so
Yeah.
she comes to
So
pick
good
him
when he
up.
smacked that kid with the tray.
Oh God, yeah. He did. You know what? He did what Mare was supposed to do later. Why the fuck did she hit him once, and then once again, and then
drop it.
and then drop it and run like a white woman? I was like, bitch, you better pick up his own gun. What do you do? I mean, it worked out for this more drama, but I was like, really, Mare? Oh, this is the most white woman thing you could have done. But anyway, so Lori picks up her son Ryan from school, and she learns that her husband is cheating again. Now, when she says, "Is he doing it again? Is he doing it again?" What does she say specifically? Does she say with the same person or with the same woman?
Same
I
one.
think he says woman.
Okay.
She says woman, yeah.
Because, I mean, Ellen wanted more drama for him, and I was like, maybe he's gay.
No, I don't want more drama for the son. I just think
No, I meant for John. You don't trust
for John. No,
Right.
I don't know. I do. I still think John's up to it's more than just adultery.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that because I went back and I watched the last week's episode. I watched the scene where the son comes in the bedroom and he's staring at the TV. And we're like, what's that about? And then the father starts staring at him, the son, and the scene ends, right? And that's the scene where we talked about it, where she was like, I don't want you and your sister walking home from school anymore. That scene.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, are they trying to like put, because what was on the TV was a news report about the missing girls. And this is where they were saying, like, they don't yet know if the cases are connected. And I'm like, why is this kid staring at this? Like, this means something, right? Like, why is the. So I went, now that we know what's up with him, right? So when the dad was like, it's our secret, I was like, did he kill Aaron? And the dad is protecting him? Like, I was, because I'm thinking back to last week, him staring at the TV. So I went back and watched it. Do you think it can't be the newscaster, right?
Oh, was it a woman newscaster?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Because otherwise, because I don't know, maybe I'm way off, but I always took that scene as significant, that this kid suddenly is staring at this thing and, staring at the TV like this. And if it's not about the case, if it's about what his secret ends up being this week is that he knows his father is cheating, then why was he, I don't know. But I could be off. Maybe I'm connecting things that shouldn't be connected.
Maybe it's the woman who sold them the TV.
Maybe. He's like, fuck that TV. And when the dad had to get out, when he had his wait, did she put him out or did he have to go sleep in another room?
No, she put his ass out. She had her suitcase in the box door, and then she was.
I thought because he had his shit in a laundry basket. I was like, "Where are you going?"
Yeah. But he had a suitcase there too.
I just saw the laundry basket of stuff. I was like, "Oh, is he just moving his stuff in the guest room?"
And he was so shitty. Like even in that scene, where he doesn't apologize or whatever to the kid, or there's nothing sincere. He's like. This is all my fault. I was like,
I'm gonna fix it. And they're like, she ain't gonna take your ass back. This is twice with the same woman. Like, she forgave you, and then you fucked up again. She's not gonna take you back. You ain't fixing shit.
I mean, that was something where you tell the kid at that point. You say, I'm not mad at you for telling the truth. That's the least you can do is make the kid not feel like he betrayed his father in some way.
He made him an accomplice for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
God, he's a piece of shit. So we're at Betty's wake, and the husband confesses to having an affair with Helen. I literally have in my notes LOL with a bunch of stars around it. And this scene, we also learned that Faye did not show up to the reception hall to view the reception hall for her upcoming nuptials to Frank. Mare don't want him.
I mean, it's funny because Mare may have broken up that relationship and she wasn't even trying.
No.
Right?
Mare she got somebody killed. She done broke up this relationship. Guy Pearce needs to run. And I'm glad his ass wasn't in this episode because he is so sketch. What if it ends up being him, you guys? I would hate this show forever.
I would not like it. I don't want it.
No,
I don't want it either.
I think he's just trying to write a book and using her. He's a writer. He's just trying to write another book. He's
oh my God, this fucking mango.
At the end of this whole series, the episode 7 is going to end. It's just going to be, he's going to have a new book called Mare of Easttown.
Yeah, he's at Mare of Easttown.
He's going to close the book, the cover. He's going to be at a book signing copies of it.
Yeah.
He's Brad Inglesby, the creator of the show.
Yes.
It was a self-insert.
Yeah.
He's like, I banged her, and then he signs the book.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. You almost made this mango smoothie go right through my nose, Alan. He's trying to write a book.
He's trying to write a true crime book.
Yeah.
He has only written one.
Trying to make a comeback.
He's like, maybe I just had one good book in me. It's like, I know that pain, sir. And this is the scene where she's like, what kind of smacked ass confesses to? Mare goes on a date with Zabel. I hated this because I'm like, why are you doing this? Like,
because he was so happy, so giddy.
I felt so bad for him.
I felt this was so. It was so awkward, and it's what's even worse, watching it after you know he dies. It's like 100 times worse, if you can imagine. Watching it knowing that he's gonna die the next day was terrible. But like, oh, she's such a shitty person for this. And then when he calls her on
that because she had a choice between going out with the author and going out with him, and she chose.
No, she could have stayed
Zabel.
home. She could have stayed home.
This is like a video game where like it's got two different options, and like no matter which one you choose, the person you go out on a date with is gonna die.
Well, then
like,
she needed
you
to
choose that one, he dies this way.
Do over, because I'd much rather lose Guy Pearce than ever.
It's like Downton Abbey. If Mary has sex with them, then they die.
Then they die. But this date was so bad because, like, you know that the mother already peeped her game, right? And when he's sitting there and he's trying to be on a date with her, and he already gave her the warning in the car, right? The moment they get in the car, she's like, so, blah, 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 did you get the so-and-so? And he's like, come on, it's a date, stop. So at the dinner table, when she does it again, like she keeps going on and on, I felt so bad for him because he's like, my mother was right. Like,
yep. You could tell he was getting it.
It was, it's just so, and he wasn't that bad. Wait, do you want to know the funniest thing about this scene? I didn't peep it the first time. When the scene begins, he drops food on the floor. He goes to put the fork to his mouth. And you guys, I did a student film when I was in community college like 20 fucking decades ago. And I had to redo a take because we were doing a dinner table scene, and the camera had to like pan around me like the whole like 360 around the table, and I was supposed to be eating that, and but it was green peas, and I like pretending to
lava
eat.
beans.
Nope, it was green peas. I remember distinctly. And I went to put the fork in my mouth, and the peas just went bloop, 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 and hit the table. And I tried to hold it in, and I just laughed. It's like, cut! But anyway, that happened to him, and he totally played into it. He, like, looked down at the floor and was like, fuck it, and just kept eating.
He was so, like, invested in this date and in, like, a potential relationship with her.
And just a potential, like, different life, too. Like, you get the feeling that he just, like, I feel like he was trying to live up to the lie that he'd created, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, he was so impressed by her. Mm-hmm. And it was something like, that was one of the things that I liked because, like, last week I said that I thought he didn't solve that case, that that's what it played like. Mm-hmm. And I read that as... now he's trying to do the same thing. I read it as he's nefarious, right? Like he's trying to do the same thing and steal this case from Mare.
That's right. You did say
and that's why he was trying to get close to her. But it was so much like sweeter than that. It's like he was actually just like he felt like he wasn't worthy of everything he had.
And that's
gotten.
what she says when she says, you do one good thing, and then people, they just expect, greatness from you all the time. Yeah. And it was so funny because I remember when
that basketball shot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And so, but it was just funny though that she said that because I get that that's kind of like a running theme with the series. Like she says it about her dad when he kills himself and like not feeling worthy. But like the way she said that line about like you do one good thing and then everybody just expects like nothing but the best from you or something like that, I was like, yeah, but I've seen 5 episodes and it feels like everybody pretty much does not expect the best from you, Mare. It feels like you have been
maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, so 20 years is a long time. You've been letting people down. It feels like, But anyway, Yeah, this was just super awkward. And he tells her, my mom said this is what you were doing. And she gets up and leaves. And I was like, bitch, like,
And I
what?
like that he even says, and this is the part where you tell me she was wrong.
Yeah,
She
and she
just
just
doesn't
gets,
say it.
nope.
Nope.
I was like, you are, but like, I mean, I guess this is you telling him that she wasn't wrong, but at the same time, you have a conversation. Like her leaving like that. I'm glad she apologized for it, but it was still really shitty. It's like he didn't do anything to you. And like he said, if you're just not in this space to do this, then you should have told me that when I asked. You don't, And I'm sure he paid for that dinner. That was just shitty, Mayor. And now he's
the
dead.
dinner he threw on the floor.
His last meal, literally.
Yeah.
Helen tells Carrie she's helping her because she can't lose another one, meaning Drew,
Yeah.
right? Like what would happen if she gets custody and then cuts them all out. I honestly thought she was going to say purely selfish, like, you need to, I need you to be the best mother you can be.
Right.
It's like, yeah, no, I don't give a fuck about you. I want you to remember this solid that I be doing for you.
And my favorite part of that scene was that after Helen says that, then Carrie, that's her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
she goes back to washing the kid's hair, and she says, "Somebody told me that you don't like shampoo in your eyes or whatever."
Mhm.
And so she didn't she took that what Helen said, and she was like, "All right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that."
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked about that. So we talked about this. They break into the house. They burn the journals. I'm super curious about what that's about. Also, they can't give that brother a name. Who's that kid?
Part
The
of their
black
clique.
kid. Huh?
Oh
He's part of their clique.
I mean, I get it. I mean, he's out here committing crimes and shit, at least misdemeanors. I would like to know his name. I don't feel like it's been said. Maybe it has and I missed it.
And,
Go ahead.
And the girl kept, Jess kept
Yes.
reading, and they're like, we weren't going to read these. And she took something, I don't know if it was a page from it or a picture.
I thought there was something that was stuffed in the diary.
like a picture
Either-
or something.
Like a picture or a note.
Yeah.
And see, even like the way she was reading it, she wasn't reading it like she expected to find incriminating stuff about herself in it, if that makes sense. Like I would,
No.
like if I want to know for sure, like here's the thing: if you think it's incriminating, then you just burn it, right? But I don't. It just goes so against how I feel. I can't imagine not reading it before I burn it. I
I
would
know.
absolutely have read that shit, especially if I'm burning because I think it's something about me. So the fact that he's like, we
Right.
said we wouldn't, it felt like it was like out of respect. And so even if you are gonna look through it while you're there, like it feels like you would kind of be frantically flipping through pages, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But she was like kind of lovingly looking through it, and that just didn't match with
And-
it being a malicious thing that they were doing.
Am I the only one who paused on the page and read what she wrote?
I wanted to,
I
but I'm
meant
also
to, and I
lazy
forgot.
and usually really high.
Was she right?
But it was before she took the picture thing
Yeah, the
out.
very first one.
The first, it was something about just feeling alone and talking to Deacon Mark, and about he's trying to get her something about believing in God, and she's not sure she believes in God, and it was I was a little disappointed. Like I thought it was going to say something like
I thought it's like, I really think
Billy is the
Billy's
father.
gonna murder me
Like
one
you
day.
cracked the case.
I think that this person is going to murder me.
Mhm.
But it was it was more, it was about Deacon Mark.
Now I have a
That's-
question because I still feel like, Ellen and I had this theory about Kevin, the son, Mayor's son, and we had this theory about him and Aaron, and I still feel like there's something there with the necklace, right? Because she says and when Jess tells Dylan, she asked about a necklace, and he says, "What do you tell her?" And she goes, "Nothing, like you told me." He didn't seem concerned about the necklace. It wasn't like, "And what did you tell her about the neck?" Like, it just felt like he
Right.
just wanted to know how the conversation went. Like, I don't think he gives a fuck about that necklace. And I think that's why that necklace is going to be important to who killed her. And there was a birth date on it. Didn't
Right.
we learn we learned Kevin's birthday in this episode, didn't we?
Yeah, it was like August something.
August
August
something.
14th.
Yeah.
14th.
And isn't, what was the birthday on the pendant?
It was something 2000. It was something 2017. So it was
Okay.
like
Yes, and
more recent.
DJ was born in 2018.
So I was thinking maybe it was when her mother died, or
For some reason, I feel like it was May. I don't remember why, but
it was, yeah, it was like May 20 something, 27th, 29th.
yeah, something like that.
But I was wondering if maybe that's when her mother died, because that would have been about 3 or 4 years ago. And I think
Yeah, no,
I don't know. There's just so many
the mother died
parallels
3
on
years
this
ago.
show.
Well, yeah, well, she went to live with him 3 years ago, and he said it was right after
Yeah.
her mother died. So, yeah.
And
The,
yeah,
Go ahead.
well, there's just so many parallels. Like when Mare said her father would go away for a few weeks, and then
Mhm.
like Erin went away for a few weeks, and then
Yeah.
the John is going away. You know, it seems like this has happened before, where he
Right. Yeah.
stayed away.
She
And-
probably put him out the first time.
Yeah. Well, so I'm just gonna throw this out there because we had theorized that Kevin was the father,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm feeling like it's Billy. But then I have this crazy thought that maybe Kevin is the father, but there were no markers DNA wise because Frank is not his father. Because there's all this infidelity and paternity shit coming
Mary,
at you.
she's
Why we got? Look, I thought we said one drama per person.
Mary's got enough drama. Come on.
Mare is a corrupt cop, cheating ass, shitty mom.
In this podcast, in this one podcast episode, we've taken away both of Frank's kids.
Siobhan's not his
Oh,
either. No, I'm just kidding. I
would
don't know.
believe
think
it,
I
though.
grew up watching soap operas too much. So
Oh
like,
my god.
I grew up watching soap operas, so not like I expect everything in the kitchen sink. So
No, I
That's what-
still feel like there's something, right? Like I feel like there has to be a tie in with Kevin. Or maybe I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I don't know.
It wouldn't. Nothing would surprise me.
That's what my theory was, that the 4 kids had a tie-in, and that's what they were hiding in the diary.
Now, when you
Okay.
say the 4 kids, you're including
I'm including Erin, because she
Erin.
wrote in her own diaries, and
And-
the 3 kids that burned them. I felt, to me, it felt like they were hiding. They were getting rid of evidence.
So you're including the girl in that.
Jess.
Yes.
The
Yes.
girl who took the thing out of the diary,
Yeah.
the one who kept
Yes.
reading the books.
Yes.
You see, because
the
she
best
didn't,
friend.
So I
she
felt like
didn't
they
feel like-
had something to do with Kevin.
she didn't feel like she
Oh,
was like
I'm
friends
sorry.
with them.
I'm sorry. Wait, John, because I think we think he's saying something he's not. That's the other thing. I'm glad you said that, Donnie. That's what
Yeah,
he
that was
thought.
my theory last night.
Did you guys hear what he said at the end? You think that those 4 are involved with what?
Kevin's death?
Okay.
Oh.
Don't let me.
I mean,
Why would you don't do that to Erin? Why are we making Erin a murderer or a?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that they're murderers, but they're. I don't know. I just
They
feel
know.
like they
Okay,
had.
okay.
They could have some kind of involvement.
Go ahead, John.
I mean, maybe they like bullied Kevin or something, or
Right.
Yeah, see,
I mean,
that's what I mean. I don't want to know that about Erin. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is about what's her name, Jess?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
She just didn't seem like she was actually like friends with Dylan and the other guy.
No.
Because like when
that's
she
what
gets
I'm
in the
saying.
car,
Yeah.
like it just felt like this was like the first time she's been in the car.
And that's what I'm
With
saying.
them in a while, or it just.
And
yeah,
this is what I mean, where I feel like it's probably going to be something super simple, like a childhood pack thing, because maybe I don't know. Because also, no, it's something. Because, yeah, I don't think she's with them. But it doesn't make sense to me that they would do this together. I can't, like, I'm trying to think of a situation in which it may, because, like, from the previews coming up, it looks like they're threatening her. Or at least, yeah. The black kid's driving and Dylan is yelling at her to get in the car and she won't. And then they act like
Right.
they chase her. So like, how do we go from that? Like, you're lying to the police for him. You had some sort of agreement about these diaries. You know what? Oh my God.
Maybe
I
she
get it
agreed to let
now.
them get the journals, and
No,
then they would get the money.
that's it. That's exactly what it is. She was going to, the journals were probably for her. There was maybe something in the journals for her to burn. Do you know what I mean? Like, you tell your best friend
Hmm.
everything, and she might put your secrets in her journals too.
But how does she get? How does this girl turn around to get these two guys involved?
Because
Because
she
the
couldn't do it
money,
herself, and so
right?
she
And she
said, "Hey,
needed
you'd have the
he could
money
have the
if you
money
help me
that
do
is
it."
in there. She was saving for the thing. Yes,
I mean, I think that makes sense.
that makes sense. That makes more sense. And now, if there's something that the threat comes next week, either because of that or something that came from whatever he was doing when he wasn't in bed that night that he wouldn't tell Brianna about. I think that makes more sense. The only way that doesn't jive though is, why would he say, unless was he talking to the guy? No. Was he talking to the guy when he said we said we weren't going to read them? I thought he was talking to her.
I think he was talking to her because she was the
He
only
was
one
talking to
trying
She
to
her.
was the
read
only
them.
one reading. He was standing, the other kid was standing at, like, the dresser, like going through the top drawer of the dresser or some shit like that. And so, okay, because, see, yeah, then that doesn't make sense. Because if we're, if the deal is I need the journals, you don't worry about why I need them. And then why would you, when they are burned at the end, is she with them? Are they burning them together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she puts the one that she was reading in the fire.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't
And she
make
takes the
sense.
thing out. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me that they would be involved in the, like, why wouldn't we just go our separate ways? You know what I mean? Like, why do
Right.
you need to be there with me when I burn them? And why do you care? Why would we, you know what I
Right.
mean? I could see it
Right.
would make sense if the guy was looking through it and he said we said we wouldn't read them, and he means we told Jess we wouldn't read them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we
Right.
understand. Like, you don't want us to know your secret. We get it. We just want the money. So it doesn't make sense though that he would say that. All right,
Well,
I'm sorry. We
maybe,
spent a lot of
maybe,
time on that. Where
well,
is the
maybe Jess would have said, "Hey, like you said, my secrets are probably in those books. Your secrets are probably in those books. We should get them." And then he's like, "I guess." And then he doesn't want her to read his secrets.
got it?
I mean, I'm just kind of trying to connect some dots to
Yeah,
make it make
that
sense.
makes
But
more sense.
yeah, okay.
That makes more sense. Because it's stuff
I'm
so
just
we
gonna,
would.
I go a wacky route. Like, maybe Jess was doing the sex working and didn't want anyone to know, and it was in the journals. And that's
Maybe,
why the money was there
maybe she was giving the money to
to
Aaron.
Erin.
Uh, where was I? Oh, Mayor tackles that old man. We talked about that. The deacon is attacked by some kids. We get more information. It turns out he was accused of raping a 14-year-old girl.
Did you guys feel bad for him here?
No. Um,
Not really.
No,
listen.
but
I
I do
haven't.
think that he's telling the truth.
But yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like, so so the story of this show then is that um a 14-year-old girl lied about him raping her.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, it's fine if you want
Right,
to say
he
that
never-
he didn't kill Aaron. Like, if he's not, I'm red herrings galore, but like,
But do we know that that's what happened? that the girl said that, or that it was just an accusation from someone?
The way the girl said was that he was accused of raping a 14-year-old girl. I believe that was the phrasing. And then later, when he is talking to the cousin, Dan, is that his name? I don't remember.
I think it's Dan, yeah.
And he says, why didn't you just tell them that? Like what you told me about just dropping her off and keeping the bike. He was like, with an accusation against me, like they wouldn't believe it. So he was obviously accused. I don't know if we're supposed to believe the parents did it and maybe they were mistaken, or it was the 14-year-old girl. But if what you're trying to tell us is that this is what he was accused of and he didn't do it, then yeah, they better fucking connect some dots there and give me the story. Otherwise, it sounds like a 14-year-old girl accused him of rape. Nobody did anything about it other than transfer his ass to Delco County. And now you're red herring, this fucking child rapist maybe in my face, but he didn't do it, and we're supposed to feel sorry for him now because people think he was a rapist and he's not. Yeah, we could have did without that.
Yeah.
If that's
he never flat out denies it either. It's always like it was an accusation,
and I don't like that either.
Not supposed to talk about it. And would you believe me if I said I didn't?
And
kill
I get
Erin?
it.
Like,
yeah, I get it because there's still 2 episodes left.
Yeah,
but I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely feels like, though, to me, that the show is saying he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, for whatever reason there is, but it feels like that's what the show's saying right now.
Zabel's mama warns him about Mare. We talked about that. Mare meets with a sex worker to get info, and later they meet with Zabel and one of the girls who tells a story about being attacked by this man in a van, and it's very much what we saw happen to Missy. And she is able to describe the van and even had a partial plate. I was like, she's a better detective than Zabel. And guess what? She's also alive at the end of the episode. How is this girl like? She's like a blue. What kind of van? Like a work van? And she's given all this information, and then she's like, "Oh wait, hold on a second. I actually have like 3 or 4 digits of the fucking license plate." I'm like, "Oh, he's caught."
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. They're gonna find him by the end of the episode. And because of her, because she just had this information that they would not have gotten if not for Mare. So he kind of had to die. Because, man, not Zabel. No, not Zabel.
And I hope it burns in hell.
No, not Zabel. I meant the bad guy. Because remember I said last week, I'm like, she can't be getting involved in shit after she lost her job because that taints everything you find. Do you know what I mean? And so this is a way that doesn't happen, because now he's dead. The girls are rescued. Nobody's going to care that Mare,
right?
You know what I mean, wasn't supposed to be there. And then you give her job back. So the solving of the Erin case is legitimate because she, it's supposed to be where she's supposed to be. But before that, if they didn't kill this guy at the end of this episode, this might not, I don't know. Although he did have 2 girls in his basement. That's pretty compelling evidence.
Excuse me, get it right.
Oh, the basement, the attic. So anyway, so they get this information, and notice again that it's him calling in like connections that he has now and access that he has because of his unearned promotion. But it's Mare doing all the actual detecting.
I feel so bad now. Like,
it's
remembering
terrible.
That this happened. It's like he told her the truth about him being not a good detective, and now like he died, and she's stuck with that truth.
Oh,
and she can't tell anybody.
Nope. Oh, he's going to be.
He's a hero.
They're naming.
He solved this shit. He solved this shit.
Yep.
Because Mare can't be the one who solved it.
Nope. He is a hero. He died a hero. His mama knows the truth though. His mama know her son ain't shit. His mama no, his ass shouldn't have been there because she told him.
Oh man, do you think that he told his mom the truth?
No, because I felt like she was so proud of him, and like in a way, like yeah, no. Mm-mm. I did feel bad though, because like the last thing he said to her was when she said like, "Please be careful." That's all I'm saying, and he goes, "I've been careful my whole life, and look where it's got me." He kind of puts his arms up and he looks around the house like, "I live with you." I felt so bad that he said that the second time I watched this.
Yeah.
So he dies, yeah. But wait, first Mare apologizes, and she says, "My life's a shit show. You don't want that." He's like, "You don't know what I want." And when she starts talking through like all the reasons her life sucks, and like she leads with, "I'm about to lose custody of my grandson," I was like, "Dude, you're like 28. Run." She has grandkids. What are you doing? What?
He's like 19.
Right?
It's okay, Nana.
Like this whole, like if I'm about to date someone, or I'm thinking about dating someone, and they're trying to talk me out of it, run. But even if I stick around to hear their case and they lead with, "I'm about to lose custody of my grandson," I'm like, let me stop you there. You were right.
You're right, I guess.
I don't want to know the rest. You came in hot. You know what I mean? We good.
And she confesses to planting the heroin too,
right?
And
he's like, "What the fuck?" I wanted him to be like, "Oh shit, I hate you now."
But he's like, "No, let's make out."
He's like, "You're perfect. It turns out you're perfect for me. We are both somewhat corrupt."
Yeah, your problems are my problems.
He's like, "You just got 58% hotter."
and then when he kisses her and then he walks away and she's like, "All right."
I know, what is happening? You
fucking
weirdos. But when he kisses her, we started talking about this. We were waiting for you, John, and I was like, "Oh wait, we got to save this." So, this is like always plays really weird because we've talked about this before. Like you watch romantic comedies, and this is a thing. You know, the guy just leans in and kisses the girl. He don't ask. You know, he just does it. And it's like, just like a staple of like cinema, not even just romantic comedies, obviously. So he does this here, and it was so weird to me because I'm like, okay, it's 2021. She's going to punch him in the mouth or something. And she's like, "What was that for?" And we were talking about this because, Ellen, you said that bit of line, that delivery, that dialogue.
Just when she's like, "What was that for?" I don't know. It just felt, it just didn't fit in the show or with Mare, because I didn't think the kiss was particularly like romantic.
It was uneasy.
It was a crime of passion.
Yeah, it was I don't know, like Mare, like she grinned after, kind of like, "Oh, all right," but I didn't get the sense she was thinking like, "Oh yeah, he could get this later." It was more cute or nice, or he liked her. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt a little cutesy in the middle of everything.
It was like she was impressed.
Yeah.
It was like she was impressed more than she was turned on.
Right. You feel about that dialogue the way I felt about last week, Siobhan saying, "Sometimes I felt like he was my best friend, and other times I felt like I didn't know him at all." I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, who talks like that?" Nobody. Not a fucking soul talks like that.
And you probably at the time thought she was the suspect, like more, like maybe more.
Yeah. I see. The thing is, I still
like that and you killed someone.
Still wanted to be her.
Yeah.
But for it to be her, it has to involve Kevin somehow. And I'm not like, I'm kind of off that train a little bit. So, okay. So, so then this is let me read to you my last bit of notes before we jump to the feedback. Mare apologizes. Life a shit show. Case gets into you. Yes, because that's what sparked his confession, right? She was like, "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have, but this is my case. No offense." She's like, "You know how it is when a case gets into you." He don't know.
No.
Because, and then so this is what prompts his confession, right? Because he fucking said that to her.
Yeah.
when she asked how he solved it. And remember I said, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, sorry John, Ellen, but Donnie, I know you remember, where I said even the answers he gave were bullshit. Like, how'd you solve it? He
Mhm.
goes, oh, you know how it is. It felt like a TV
Mm-hmm.
thing, a cop would say. So you just
Yep.
work it and you just keep looking over and over. It just felt so fake. And so now when she says that, you can imagine he's like, yeah, I don't fucking know. Because as it turns out, not only did he not solve it, he wasn't even fucking thinking about that case. Like, this
Right.
dying man had to come to him and be like, hey, and he ignored him. And he only stopped at the guy's house because he was in the neighborhood a few weeks later. Like, he doesn't know what it's like for a case to get it, and he'll never know,
Right.
unfortunately.
He knows what it's like for a bullet to get into you.
Oh, God, John, why are you like this? Okay, so here, wait, let me finish my notes. Case gets in you, he confesses, she confesses, he kisses her, ... he fucking dies, 4 exclamation marks. I don't know what else
Yeah.
to say that hasn't already been said. This is so fucked up. I mean, and then
Yeah,
he
I mean,
made a
look-
little noise. Like, he was like, "Ugh," and I was like, ah!
That was the end.
Yeah.
That's something that, like, I kind of want, like, I don't know if we're gonna find out anything about this guy who had these girls.
You know,
But,
it'll be
like-
like in a press conference or, you know, super fast exposition probably.
Yeah, but I kind of want them to say, oh, he was an ex-cop, or like he was in the military. Because otherwise, the fact that he was able to pull that gun so fast and hit him right in the fucking head
Right.
doesn't really make sense. Especially against, because we talk about, you know, Zabel and the fact that he is not a good detective or whatever. But, like, he was still a trained officer, a trained
Yeah,
detective.
but you got to remember, I think that's the whole point of him. He was just not prepared, John. He just, I mean,
Yeah.
and look, we have cops here now saying, I pulled my thing and I thought it was my taser and all that. I mean, they're not that trained.
Yeah, they're lying.
Let's,
Yeah.
let's back up a bit, okay? So it's not like elite training when we talk about that type of training, but also he was just so fucking unprepared, you know, like, again, like, he didn't even know this was a situation in which he should even be thinking about his gun. She had to tell him. It wasn't
Right.
like she was like, I don't have my gun, and he already had his hands on his, and he was like, oh, right, I forgot you don't have yours. He wasn't even in gun mode because he was
No.
so just out of his, you know. But I will say, I like that it happened like that, and this is just because of my, you know, morbid fascination with true crime stories, document. I think Ellen shares the same. But unfortunately, sometimes it's like that, and it sounds that fucking like, you know, like, holy shit, it was just like one shot and it got just the, you know, and I think that kind of adds to the, for me anyway, I don't think anybody should have guns. That's about as, that's where I've fallen. I used to get the, you know, I didn't want to infringe upon, fuck that. I think it's weird that you want to go fucking hunting. I think it just is a whole fucking cult of just
Culture.
around gun culture. Yeah, I'm not. No, I don't think we should have guns. I don't, and I think we all know how very purposeful it is that guns find their way into certain communities, to justify then, you know, over weaponizing cops. And no, I'm seriously like, what would it, to even just try it, to live in a gun-free society for a year. But anyway, but that's
go to
you know,
Japan.
and that's part of it. Like, I just don't feel like nobody should have that type of power to take a life that quickly, that efficiently. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So in that way, I like that he was able to do that. But I agree with you, John. It feels like we'll probably get, like, again, in the press conference, it'll be, you know, the suspect has been identified as ex-Marine.
Right.
I mean, it felt like, because the way, like, because he tucked that gun in the back of his pants, not even like in a holster. It was underneath his shirt that he had, so he had to reach under his shirt into his pants, in his back, while he was fucking with the pipe. And I was just like, this dude's good. Like,
Yeah.
he pulled that gun out in a split second and shot him right between the eyes.
Oh,
And
when you said
But he
the
missed Mare,
pipes, that
Yeah, I
part
was just
about
gonna say, the
when
girls with the-
girls were like,
Mhm.
oh, that was like,
Now,
I
when
was like,
I will tell you,
"Ooh."
when Katie is, she been there a year. She clean and shit. She's just like, they were down there playing spades or something. I don't know what they were doing, but she was like, "What's wrong?" She goes, "There are people here." But the thing is, like, they have been talking for a minute, and once the music went off, and the girl, like, it made me sad how comfortable Kaylee was with her
Yeah.
reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, to just be like, "Oh, don't worry, it's poker night. He won't take us out," or how, she was shackling herself for him.
Yeah.
She just resigned herself to this captivity, and so when they're sitting there playing, how casually she was just playing this game or whatever they were doing, and then she says, and the audacity of him to just like, here's some entertainment you're allowed to have. Oh, this motherfucker. But anyway, when she says people are here and he didn't tie us up, so that means it was unexpected. My girl, I was like, you better shoot your shot.
Right.
And I
they
was like,
started
why aren't
playing.
they streaming?
Yeah, that was
That's
the
how I
other
thought they
thing.
were
I
gonna
was like,
bang on the floor and shit. That's what
and
I
I
was
really thought they were going, like, when they were doing that, and he was like, oh, something with the pipes or whatever. I was like, they need to be, like, making, like, music. Like, we will rock you. Boom, boom, boom. Like, don't let this motherfucker tell he's, like, pretend that it's something it's not. But as soon as I said that, they started shaking the shit out of us. And this motherfucker, I mean, it would, like, honestly, that's when I would have pulled my gun, which is another reason, like, I absolutely admit I would not have made a good cop. I would have fucking pulled my gun already. And he would have been there like, man, nope. I would have had my gun out. When Mare said that she didn't have her gun at all, and he just unholstered, nah, I'd have pulled that shit out and pulled it on him and say, sir, I'm going to need you to step away from the pipe. And then later you can have your lawyer be like, well, what probable cause? The fucking pipes was acting like they were possessed, okay?
Right.
That was my probable cause. I thought that this is very highly probable that this guy with this van that matches the fucking description has 2 girls in the fucking attic. That was my probable cause to pull this fucking gun out. But see, that's me.
I would have been like, fuck it. We don't even care about being here. We'll see you later. And then I would have left and then called back up.
But it was too late because they were already so fucking. I agree with you. Like when they got suspicious, that one of them should have been like, hold on a second, I got a call. And, you act like you're standing out on the front porch taking the call or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But it was way beyond that because they were, I mean, I wouldn't have walked in there with that music playing like that. But that's just me, like that. I don't like you, Donnie, like when I'm in the shower, like up here by myself, I will lock the bedroom door because I don't like sudden, like, I have to hear when somebody enters a room, if that makes sense. Like, it kind of like, so I lock the door because I don't want to come out the shower and find like somebody sitting here, like Donnie, even if it's just Donnie. So like that whole being in a strange space like that with all of that noise like surrounding me, that would have freaked me. No, I would have insisted we talk outside before I would have went in there. But all that to say that, poor Evan Peters took a hot one. She shot the shit out of him though, and
like
kept
she did.
got him in the thigh for good measure. I mean, I think the first shot took him in the head, and then she just kept going, which I don't blame her.
And when she saw Zabel's body there, and she just like picked up his gun, I was like, I get it, but at the same time, I was like, I couldn't have done that.
See, you'd have been dead too. See, John, come on.
I'd have been like, oh no, Zabel! And then I'd be like, shot or something.
Yeah.
So in a video game, you would have looted his body before you picked up the weapon.
No, I would have tried.
That's not an option.
Hurled up into a ball.
Unless you're playing The Sims.
I would have peed my pants. Again, because I would have peed them earlier.
Yeah, and she got shot in the hand, too.
Repeat.
Or at least a ricochet of the bullet on her hand.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because she had to wrap it up. And
then,
she
did bring her
immediately she goes to, like, the zone of thinking of her son.
Yes.
So, like, that was why, like, I didn't
even, finally jump into when he says, take my hand, which was lovely because we really hadn't seen anything so far from their past from having a loving relationship. So that was nice.
I think maybe that's why. And then going back on the rewatch, like feeling like when when Evan Zabel kissed her,
Mhm.
and like for him, he was like arugula, but for her, it was more like, oh, that was kind of cute. And I think
Yeah.
like
Or
she
whoop.
didn't. I mean, I don't expect Mare to like break down and scream and cry, but like she didn't really. She had a very frozen reaction to him dying like that, and just everything just immediately went back to her, whatever she's going through.
Yeah, and I think that that's part. I think that might be part of like when you hear about how her dad didn't get help, and then when she asked
Yeah,
her, "Do you think you've ever been depressed?" and she was like, looking back on it, like, yeah, because I had the
yeah,
same fucking breakthrough with myself. Like, you don't. I thought depression looked one specific way. And you don't
right,
recognize that, oh, all that anger and all that stuff. Okay, that's tied to that. And so I think
yeah,
she probably that you hear that when she says, "Oh, there was like that time after Siobhan was born." I was like, "Oh, postpartum depression." Like,
right,
you know how many women like later you think back and it's like, "Oh yeah, okay, that's what I was going through." There's like a kind of history of just kind of like swallowing stuff and pushing through. So I like that that was. I'm agreeing with you, by the way.
yeah,
I like that
like
that was like that last thing. The way the episode ended was that memory of that with Kevin.
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna read the feedback really quickly. Where are we? Oh my god, you guys are really. Wait, what episode is this? What are we talking about? Episode 5, right?
5.
Okay, hold on a second. Did somebody leave 4 feedback really late?
There's probably Kate. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if Kate's listening to this one.
Kate put a comment
Oh,
on my Facebook, so I know she's watching the show for sure.
okay, okay, okay. I mean, she better be listening. Okay, yeah, I think I forgot to like these last week. Okay, so for this episode, we have first Kimberly. Hello, Nina, Donnie, Ellen, and John. See, look at she put Ellen slash John.
Aw.
She was just like, I'm not taking any chances. I don't know who's gonna be there this week. Okay,
She got us both.
Mhm. The minute Mare started talking about her father's untreated depression, I knew he had committed suicide. Hearing that she pushed her depression aside in an effort not to burden her mother explains so much about her. Add Kevin on top of that, and the fact that Mare can function on any level is a miracle. Kind of relate to that too. Then that whole conversation about Kenny and Erin, and the scenes with Lori and her son about her husband. Delco, like far too many neighborhoods and towns in our society, functions on avoidance, denial, and indifference. But also, can we talk about it? There's a lot going on.
Hmm.
There is, besides like the infidelity and all that, it's kind of like titillating drama. There's a lot of addiction. There's a lot of teen pregnancy. There's a lot of
Opioid.
unaddressed mental illness.
Hmm.
A lot of violence. A lot of over sexualization of, well, I said the teen pregnancy. I mean, there's a lot going on. And I would imagine that this is not, that this is a reality for a lot of places.
And did you say like healthcare?
Oh, nope.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Because what's her name, Dawn?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dawn. And I mean, if the baby's ear
Mm-hmm.
surgery was
Mm-hmm.
affordable, then,
Yeah.
Yep.
wouldn't be sex working for money.
um, So anyway, she says, despite her other fuck ups, the minute I saw Mare looking at the beer bottle, I was like, yes, get DNA testing on that, because Billy was deliberately trying to avoid all questions about how long Aaron was staying with him. Also, both he and the baby are redheads. I totally did not pick up on that. Is he a redhead, really?
I picked up on that. Like, there was a scene when they were looking for Kenny, and he's looking out the window, and his beard was like red. Like, I picked up like a redness
So,
in his
like,
beard.
I
He's a
mean, if my
ginger.
teenage daughter goes and lives with a motherfucker, a ginger, and then 9 months later has a little ginger baby, we gonna talk about it, right?
So I wonder now if you go back to watch like the beginning of the series and you start if you see, there's any scenes with Aaron and Billy together.
Nope.
You know, Kenny was like, "Oh, Billy wouldn't do that."
Is that how he said it? Is that how he said it, Sean?
Pigeon, you
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's how
touch,
he said
you wouldn't touch my dirter.
Ah, dirter.
Murder, murder.
She had a dirter.
All the errand shit is getting ready to rise to the surface. Oh my God, hold on a second. Is that what I did? I'm sorry. While you guys were talking, I was trying to turn the AC on. It's not coming on. Donnie, put the AC on. Dying up here. All the Erin shit is getting ready to rise to the surface. Erin truly had no friends in this garbage town. Dylan truly is a piece of shit. Too bad Kenny was too inept to finish the job. Holy shit, Evan Peters did not see that shit coming. In this day and
No,
age,
he
and with
saw it coming.
did he? In this
Right
day
in
and
front of his
age,
face.
and with the grandchild who lives with her, how does Mare not have a cell phone on her? She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she ends
Yeah, 'cause
up
she texts.
text 911.
Well, it took her a long time to get to texting.
I mean, she was kind of running for her life.
Oh.
Just saying.
I
Dawn,
believe
hey
He was all
Dawn.
downstairs and she was all upstairs. She had some time.
All upstairs on 4K.
Mhm.
She was all breathing loud and hard. I was like, bitch, if you don't stop being so white in this moment. She was like, and I was like, girl, he can hear you. He turned the music off.
That's all that vaping. It's gotten to her lungs.
She's a Philly 40. She breathes like she's in her
My
70s.
granddaughter.
Oh my God. But anyway, Dawn says, I think they killed off Betty Carroll because the actress died during shooting. That being said, Helen and Mare don't get along because they're too much alike. That's what I was going to say. Thank you for bringing that up. Like, it's so weird. Like, even phrasing it as like they don't get along because this is such a normal mother-daughter dynamic when daughter dynamic when they're so alike. I don't know what your experience has been like, Helen. And I will preface this by saying,
yeah.
I will preface this by saying that my mother is absolutely delightful. However, as am I, and our special brand of delightful together is a explosion. And it was just so apparent to me, like the older, particularly like my teen years, the older I got was just like, yeah, we're just really alike, and therefore it's like explosive, but like I never looked at it like when you were talking about the parallels, like that she doesn't have a good relationship with her mother because it just feels, but that could just be like normal dysfunction that I'm just so used to mother-daughter relationships like this that still manage to be loving even though they can be explosive. And that said,
Right.
though, my mother and I haven't had anything like that in like more than 20 years. But like those first 20 years, but that's when you're living together. So I said, I don't know what your experience has been like because I think if you are alike and you live together, that's just par for the course.
Oh yeah.
And alike in that way, I mean. Like they're clearly, they're the same.
And I mean, and like,
Well-
because like you're a young mother too, like, isn't that something that would contribute to like being
Yeah, my
similar?
mother. Yep.
Well, what I noticed, like with Betty, when Betty crashed into the pole, and like then there was the blackout. So like her, like in like the symbolic sense, like her death, like had affected everyone. Like,
I wonder
that's
because.
when.
Go ahead.
That's when Lori caught her, the father and the son talking, and Frank and Siobhan had their little thing. So, like, a lot happened in the blackout. So it's just kind of a nice bookend because Betty's like the first character other than Mare.
We talked about that. Remember when we were saying how like the very first episode begins with the scream and the light because she sees the guy out there and she calls and wakes up Mare. But I do like. I'm so glad you pointed that out, that the way they used her death as a storytelling device to have all this stuff happen, especially knowing that she died during filming. And so this obviously wasn't the way the script was, I'm assuming, originally meant to go, right? And you
Right.
could tell too, even the way they filmed it, like, you know, they had her
Like the
license to
funeral scene and
confirm.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
funeral scene is probably
Um,
filmed after.
and I like the callback too to that cop, the black guy from the first episode. He can't. The blood makes him
Oh, the
sick.
blood.
Yeah, you see all the blood on the
Mhm.
airbag, and I was like, oh god. He's like, I'm like, dude, find a new job. You're really in
It's
the wrong
also
business.
it's very ironic that she was killed by getting Cheerios when Cheerios is supposed to be good for your heart, but she had a heart attack.
Right.
Oh my god, why are
Yeah.
y'all like this? So anyway, men risking
Donnie's
it,
a better detective than Zabel.
especially now. Men risking it all for them, and they both ask why. Make a big deal of a little sex. Yeah, that too. She's like, it only happened twice, 3 times tops.
The fact that I can't remember how many times should tell you what it meant to me.
Zabel was a bad investigator, stealing the PI's work and riding Mare's coattails. Why didn't they stay with the kidnap? Right? Why didn't they stay with the kidnapper when he went to turn off the music? Oh yeah, he's a white guy. Yeah, that's true too. But rest in peace, Zabel. Jess is a shitty friend. Dylan is garbage. This is Dawn, by the way. This is still her feedback. Jess is a shitty friend. Dylan is garbage. Brianna thought he would treat her differently. She ain't too bright. Beating up Aaron over him. Where did Dylan's silent black friend come from? Thank you! Can we get a name for this brother, please? I even, because I have the closed captions on, and sometimes they will put the characters' names for further speech. And him, when he was like, here, I ain't gonna bite, nothing, no name, nothing. No,
Driver.
right. Mm-hmm.
Driver.
Probably. The Ross family. When I thought Lori's husband was molesting their son, I decided they should burn the whole town. It's not much better making the child an accessory in John Ross's infidelity against the boy's mother. My bet is Jesse's mom being the other woman because her daughter is a shitty friend.
Oh.
Oh, would that explain? Remember when you were like, why come over here?
Yeah, like
And I
I
was
didn't
like,
like
because she's
know each
Mary's
other
best
that
friend.
well.
Yeah. But now, I don't know. Billy Ross, the weasel face one, is DJ's father and her murderer. Red hairs in the family. Oh, like John's daughter. Hmm. Let's see.
Oh yeah. What's her name? Moira? Moira?
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh
Because
yeah, she is a redhead.
Mhm.
Oh.
They
Mhm.
knew. They had to know. They had to know. But it's just so weird to me that she chose to do that way. You know what I mean? I'm still
Yeah.
like, that just fucks with me. It's just, oh, anyway. Christopher Nicholas says, I didn't want them to fuck, but I didn't want him to die. Is it bad that I didn't realize they actually killed him until I read posts in the group? I was just more worried about Mare than anything else. It all just happened so fast.
Didn't
Oh my
even
God.
see the man laying there.
He's like, oh, it's
Or maybe
only
he
a
just thought he
flesh
was
wound.
like,
He'll be back.
maybe he just thought he was like, it wasn't a fatal shot. So he was just like unconscious. So Mare's best friend's husband was cheating and made his kid keep it a secret. Trash. Kudos to the Ryan for beating that kid's ass for picking on the girl with Down syndrome. That's his sister, by the way. I know violence is not the answer, I guess, but that kid needed his ass beat. Oh, it was absolutely the answer. I don't know if any of you watched the show The Society on Netflix, but the guy playing Dylan was on that show, and he played the purest character. What? I can't even imagine. It sucks that they had to cancel that show just so I can watch him be the fucking worst on this show. I think I got my old white ladies mixed up because I still don't know if the one who died is the same lady who thought she had a peeping Tom in the first episode. Yes, it is her. And I'm just realizing the mother of Mare's grandkid is the same girl who was on 13 Reasons Why for a season or two. Oh, she was? That's Kevin Bacon's daughter. Did you know that, Christopher Nicholas? I bet you didn't.
Oh, I knew that her name was Bacon, but I couldn't find if she was related.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you knew that. I thought we talked about that. Okay. I know Mare is kind of terrible, but this is the kind of terrible I like watching in a show. I'm surprised they made the kidnapper and the killer a different person. Really? I thought it was so obvious. I don't even know who to pick for the killer because all these men look suspect as fuck. That's my feedback for today. Can't wait to hear your podcast. Thank you. And finally, Shalita says, well, damn, I feel bad talking shit about Evan Peters now. He's dead. You know what? It reminded me, like, afterwards, I was so fucked up over this ending. I was like, oh my God, it was so, like, that's all I could say for like an hour and a half. Like, I was so fucked up. But I thought back to all the shit I was talking about him on the last podcast or two. And I've thought about what Helen said in this episode. It was like, yeah, you can talk shit when they're alive, but when they die, everybody's the same. So at the end of this episode last night, I was like, oh, Zabel didn't deserve that. No, but he really didn't. He didn't.
Well, up until halfway through the episode, he was one of my suspects.
He was still a suspect. Oh my God. And then, I was like, oh my God, he lives with his mother in a creepy way. And I feel so bad. Okay. Where was I?
I mean, they did a good job in this episode of making you like him.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, right before killing him.
So she goes, I feel bad talking about him now that he's dead. He was still weird and a shit detective, but he ain't deserved to go out like that. He really didn't. He died in the line of duty. But his mom will blame Mare for him dying. And she would be right. Right? I mean, he's a grown man with his own agency, but she was absolutely, like, leading him on, and, like, she absolutely shouldn't have been working this fucking case. He should have been clueless as shit. She should have just let him fail. Or she should have taken a backup gun. What the fuck are you doing, Mare?
Yeah, don't you have a gun that, like, isn't registered?
Right? All cops do. Okay.
And you
Anyway.
throw it into the river after you use it, and it hits that bike.
That's like a New York, Philly, Jersey tradition, John. What are you talking about? Scene was in the Hudson. Okay. She says, if the show ends with Mama Zabel showing up to kill Mare, I wouldn't be surprised. Fade to black. No, she'll just be sitting in a diner and the door will open. Really? Nobody remembers how The Sopranos ended? Y'all suck.
Yeah, but
I didn't watch it.
I never watched the finale.
Oh, whatever. Okay.
what?
To be fair, neither did I.
You still haven't watched it?
No, but I
That's one
understand. I
finale
know
I
what
don't watch.
happens.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I didn't watch it. God, it's been
I never watched the Dexter finale. Same thing. It's like I don't
well,
care
well,
for
well, that's actually coming
Care
back,
for
so you may want to get on that.
it.
No, you skip it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this episode 7 of Mare either. I'm just gonna.
Just gonna let it
I'll
ride.
still
Different.
podcast though if you let me.
She's like, I'm gonna pretend this guy killed Erin too. The end. Anyway, they should have called for backup before he even got a chance to get his gun. Yep. Cousin Billy is so the baby daddy. Who says their daughter lived with a single male relative? Which is absolutely a fucking shame that we even have to think that way, but men are trash. I ain't seen a wife or girlfriend, so who, right? You can't trust men around young girls, unfortunately. Dylan really is the worst. I actually feel bad for Brianna. And that's not something I thought it would say after she beat up Erin. Yeah, I don't feel bad for her. She's like, well, I'm not going to college next year. I was like, yeah, well. Shit happens. Erin's dead. I don't give a fuck.
Go to
about
beauty school.
Oh, yeah, go to beauty school and drop out of that bitch. I do not like this kid at all. Anyway, and Erin's BFF is even worse because that was your girl and you're doing her so dirty. But I don't know if she is. I mean, I know everybody has a drama. I really don't want this girl's drama to be that she's just a piece of shit. Erin should have had, like, one good person in her life. Come on. Anyway, little Ryan is a very good brother. He saw those bullies messing with his sister. He did the right thing. Might have got a little overzealous due to his dad being a piece of shit, but that kid deserved it. He really was
No, he
beating that
didn't.
kid for his dad. He really was.
Yeah, that's his dad. He
There's
saw
some
his dad.
there was some extra. Yes, absolutely. He saw his dad's face on that kid.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't that kid, it was going to be somebody. But anyway, but seriously, I really thought his dad was molesting him the way it was presented. I mean, I'm glad it's not molestation, but they've already fucked up this kid's childhood with him being stuck between them. And as we already knew, Mare's family is fucked up, but I love me some Helen. She must really put it on Mr. Carroll. She must have really put it on Mr. Carroll. The fact that you remember his last name. We barely remembered Betty. All right. She must have really put it on Mr. Carroll if he had to bring it up at his wife's funeral. Pussy so good, make you talk about it. Pussy so good, make you talk about it decades later at your wife's funeral. Donnie, I'd fucking kill you. I would come back from the grave.
This is the last chance I get to tell everybody. I slept with Helen.
And in case anybody was confused, he was like, Helen Fahey.
She's not over there.
He said Miss Fahey. I just love because every fucking head turned in that.
Oh.
And then the guy, if you go back and look at it, the short guy right next to Gene Smart, he has a beard. He's like stout. He has like a drink in his hand. He looks at her. He's so disgusted. He really played it up like whore.
Jezebel.
You gotta go watch the look on his face. Like, this extra was earning that check.
Because you know the director's like, all right, all you extras, just think the word whore.
Yeah, surprise, embarrassment. He went with straight disgust. He was
Extra.
like, scarlet letter this bitch.
Living up to extra.
It's like making the minimum on COVID pay.
Right?
COVID set.
It's like, I want an Emmy shit.
Acting my ass up.
So anyway, finally she says, yeah, the whole family needs individual therapy and definitely group therapy. That's it. Hope it's not too long this week. Can't wait to hear your podcast. Ah, man, that's it. That's all we got, you guys. It's just really fucked up. I can't. They shot him right in the forehead. John was calling that man goofy last week.
I call him goofy this week. I don't call it. I'm not saying it's an insult. You're the one taking it as an insult. You're insulting Goofy.
Goofy is a beloved character.
I think he could play the fuck out of that role.
I'm done doubting Evan Peters. So anyway, you guys, thank you for listening. Donnie and I will be back tomorrow for the Nevers, and there's something else I'm forgetting. There's so much I'm forgetting. What else? What is me and Sarah. Good God. We're finishing up Shadow and Bone, the final 2 episodes of the season. I've already watched them. Spoiler, I absolutely love them. And I'm super excited for the show. I'm waiting for them to announce the season 2. I don't know what the fuck they're waiting for on Netflix. Get on it. I've had a blast covering that with Sarah. Like I said, we'll be recording for the final 2 episodes of the season this Friday, so make sure you get your feedback in. And that's all I got. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ellen. Why am I thinking John?
Yeah.
I don't know.
John lives here. Thank you, Ellen. You're the special guest. John's always here. We will be back. So we have 2 more episodes.
We could possibly this, and that's what I was thinking. Like, as much as has happened already, there's still 2 more episodes.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. But anyway,
I gotta find her cell phone.
Whose cell phone? Yeah, you're right. We still haven't found Erin's cell phone.
Because the deacon said that she got a text from somebody, and he was dropping her off to that person.
They should go through the whole town and take everybody's cell phones. Fuck it. Bashes it up. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you next time.